Hello and welcome to Anime Memories, and on this episode, I'm going to be talking about His and Her Circumstances. While Love Hina was the first romance anime I watched, it was this show that cemented my love for the genre. It completely changed my taste in media. At the time I was a teenager and I wasn't into romance at all. I felt a lot of pressure to act like a man. A manly man, and manly men don't get into this sissy lovey-dovey rubbish. Shortly after, I realised how stupid gender roles were. It was perfectly fine for girls to like action movies, so it should be okay for me to watch love stories. His and Her Circumstances is one of the best love stories I've seen, and while the removalists may have come and taken all the stuff from my background, I still have my camera and I can still make videos. So, let's get into it. Yukino Miyazawa and Soichiro Arima are both considered model students by their teachers and classmates. They get high marks on exams, they're talented at sports, they're supportive to their peers. It seems like there's nothing that these two can't do flawlessly. However, their current demeanours are completely fake. Miyazawa is only acting to boost her own ego, and Arima is trying to escape from his childhood trauma that was caused by parental abuse. When they both discover that they're in the same situation, they decide to take off their masks and endeavour to find their true selves, which eventually leads to them falling in love. One of my biggest pet peeves with romance anime is stalling. The writer will have the protagonist fumble through these convenient misunderstandings until, at the end, they finally get together, when really they should have gotten together well before that. That crap doesn't happen here, since Miyazawa and Arima get together within the first 4 episodes, and while there is a little bit of fumbling around, it's used to make a point. By refusing to tell the other person how you feel due to fear of rejection, what you're really saying is that you care more about your own feelings than you do theirs, and in love, it should be the opposite. I thought this was a very smart statement for the show to make, and it wasn't the only one that came up. It makes many intelligent comments on the different aspects of romance. Along with being entertained, I also felt as if I was receiving solid relationship advice, since it covers both the negatives and positives of being in love. There's nervousness, arguments, extreme mood swings making you feel like you're in heaven one second and hell the next. However, it also talks about how empowering it can be to have that extra support and how you can use that to make yourself stronger. If you've been through a teenage romance, or just any kind of romance, there'll be a lot in here that you can relate to. Now, one of the main themes in here is the importance of being true to who you are, and this can be seen through Miyazawa and Arima's journey to improve themselves. Like any personality change, it's a painfully slow process and they encounter quite a few roadblocks. Going from being 100% fake to being genuine and truthful would be incredibly difficult. Although they very quickly start to see the benefits as they feel liberated. It's as if they're re-experiencing everything in life for the first time again. I absolutely love seeing them go through these transformations. This story is so good that I don't have any problems with it. I guess that means it's perfect, right? Yep, I'm going with that. This story is totally perfect. I wish. It ends partway through the manga, so a lot of plot threads were left unresolved, and by the time the final episode came around, Gainax had run out of money, so they pulled an Evangelion and turned the ending into a crappy slideshow. Even if I enjoyed the writing here, which I didn't by the way, the lack of animation is unacceptable. And I haven't even mentioned the horrendous episode where the characters were paper cutouts on popsicle sticks. Man, that sucked. There's also 2 recap episodes in the middle and another towards the end. The budget for this must have been non-existent. You know, with all this talk of lack of money, I might as well just move straight into the technical aspects because that's where it's most noticeable. The visuals are dog shit. Even when taking into account its age, it still looks awful. It reeks of cheapness with a massive amount of panning shots, scenes where the characters aren't even coloured in, and reused panels from the manga. It also wouldn't help that I'm coming off Denoko, which had amazing animation, and this doesn't compare at all. There are an extensive amount of visual flaws here, but they're easy enough to tolerate because of all the positive aspects, such as the characters. I know I've said many times how important great characters are for a story to work, But it was more important here than any other anime in recent memory because the characters are the story. Their development is at the center of the narrative. You get to see all of them grow, not just the main protagonists. Some of the background characters have to overcome unrequited love, feelings of inadequacy, having a strained relationship with their parents, and all of this further enhances the plot. It was great that these conflicts were given to the supporting cast. A show just seems more complete when there are multiple complex characters instead of just one or two. Now, like with any cast, there were a few people that stood out to me, and one of them was Arima. I have all the admiration in the world for him. Instead of being held down by his pain, he uses it as motivation to rise above his upbringing. It's a pity that his arc isn't complete because of the ending, but what we got was still pretty heartwarming. Two more standouts were Miyazawa's parents. For the most part, they're used as standard comic relief characters, nothing special there at all. However, then there was an episode about how they got together, and I started seeing them in a whole new light. If I think back, it was probably my favourite episode of the whole series. I loved it so much that I wanted to see an entire anime showing their story in more detail. It says a lot about the writing that it can take two fairly cliched people and in 20 minutes, turn them into compelling characters that I wanted to learn more about. Then we have Tonami, and he is by far the character I connected the most with. Due to his weight, he was bullied heavily as a child, so he became determined to better himself and get revenge on the people that picked on him. One of his most memorable lines was, "If I accept the fact that I'm not worth anything anyway, then I won't feel so hurt." Those words resonated more with me than you could ever know. I was Tonami. In middle school and high school, I accepted what everyone was saying about me. I accepted that I was a loser and nobody liked me to shield myself from the pain. I also understood his desire for revenge. You get obsessed with proving that you're not a piece of garbage, not just to everybody around you, but to yourself as well. Again, like with Arima, his arc isn't complete in the anime, but I liked where they went with him in the manga. His side plot has a fitting conclusion. In the sound department, I thought the soundtrack was okay, decent enough. Some of the songs do sound like copyright-free music that came from the YouTube audio library, however, they do their job, I guess. Now the dub actually gives me a little bit more to talk about since it was pretty good. Although when I say good, you have to understand that this came out in an era where anime was extremely niche, like even more niche than it is today. The standards for voice acting weren't as high since there wasn't as much money in bringing anime to the West. If you want an idea of how bad it was back then, all you have to do is listen to the guy who played Arima. His line reads are dull, monotone and lifeless.
That Brahms CD, I was passing nearby, so I thought I'd drop it off.
I have no idea what emotion he was trying to convey there, but he failed. Hard. This was especially noticeable since he was acting against Veronica Taylor, who does an excellent job at playing Miyazawa. She puts on a performance that would hold up in any modern anime. While some of the voices were a bit stiff, the dub is well above average for its time and I very much enjoyed listening to it. The source material for His and Her Circumstances is outstanding. It revolutionised the romance genre and it deserved a better adaptation than this. The story is pretty well intact, however, the visuals and the mismanagement by Gainax brought it down considerably. Although, I'd much rather have a well-written anime that looks like crap rather than a beautiful anime that's written horribly. If you have a similar attitude, His and Her Circumstances is a fantastic love story that should be seen by any fan of romance. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave a comment, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe as well. Also, as I said at the beginning of the video, the removalists have come and taken all my shelves and all the anime that was on the shelves, so that's in my new place, and very shortly I'll be moving to my new place as well, so if there's a bit of a gap between this video and the next one, that's why. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.